We'll chant Om 3 times followed by the invocation shlokas. Om. Om. Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunektu Sah Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vedvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. समस्त जन कल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्. Good evening, everyone. Hari Om. We are covering Kathopanishad. Now, in Kathopanishad, we are going to chant every week. We are going to chant this particular opening verse. This is not from the Upanishad itself, but it is from Shankara Bhashyam. Okay? This is the very first line of Shankara Bhashyam, which Shankaracharya ji speaks in praise of this text. So one of you please go off mute and repeat after me. Om
Om
Namo
Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Vaivasvataya
Vaivasvataya
Mrityave
Mrityave
Brahma Vidyacharyaya
Brahma Vidyacharyaya
Nachiketase.
Nachiketase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, in our last session, so far what we saw is we understood overall meaning of Vedas. And in addition to the overall meaning of Vedas, we also understood the our dhyana mantra for this Kathopanishad, which is Sahanavata mantra. So then we started in with the actual bhashyam. We haven't started the Upanishad yet. We saw the actual bhashyam where it said Om Namo Bhagavate Vaivasvataya. We understood what Vaivasvata is. The son of Vivaswan. Vivaswan is Surya. Okay. And then we also saw two different meanings of Bhagavate, Bhagavan. Okay. And Brahma Vidyacharya, that is one who is giving Brahma Vidya. So what is Brahma Vidya we have seen. And now the interesting thing was we also saw was that not just Vaivasvata, that is Yama, was considered as Brahma Vidyacharya, but also Nachiketa was also considered Brahma Vidyacharya because once he understood the Brahma Vidya, he also became Brahma Vidyacharya. So these two, both the Guru and the Shishya, at the time of uh, the story, happening of the story, yes, Nachiketa was a student, way qualified student than us. However, he was still a student, but after the Vidya was given, he became Acharya. So our goal is to become Brahma Vidyacharya by learning and abiding in the knowledge that is given in this text. Now, in the last session, so where we are beginning is that in last session, towards the end, I mentioned that the meaning of Upanishad is not yet discussed by us. Because we talked all about what Vedas are, which Veda, how many Vedas, how many Shakas. We talked all about it, but not the actual meaning of Upanishad. And that was not by accident, but by design, because In this Upanishad, Bhashyam, Shankaracharya himself gives the meaning of this uh, Upanishad in the next line. Okay, so he says, Sadir dhatoho visharana gati avasada gati. I mean, I'm breaking the words to for easy understanding purposes. Gati avasadanartham sya upanipurvasya pratyaya antasya rupam idam upanishad iti. This is what he said. So he says, Sadir dhatu. So that means that there is a dhatu. Dhatu is a root word. Okay. So for example, any in Sanskritam, any words are made from dhatus. The dhatus are called root words. So these dhatus, these root words, are all invariably verbs. Okay. And from the verbs comes the noun. So that means, say, for example, Jalaja. Jalaja means, Jalaja is one of the names of Mother Lakshmi Devi. Jala, Jala means water. Ja means born. Second Ja is born. So, born from water is Lakshmi Devi. So so now, because of which a fish is also can be called as Jalaja. A lotus flower is also can be called as Jalaja. Even a frog can also be called as Jalaja. So which Jalaja has to be applied where is the challenge that for which we need great commentators like Shankaracharya ji to explain to us, because we moved away a lot. And this etymology, learning of etymology is one of the angas of Veda, one of the Vedangas. So this is okay, the study of etymology. So without learning etymology, we cannot learn Vedas in those olden days. For us, we are we barely know the word with etymology, but still because of the greatness of the our Guru Parampara, even without that, we are able to manage. So anyway, that is a dhatu. So this sat dhatu is one is used, and it has got this sat dhatu has got three meanings are given: Visharana, Gati, Avasadana. Okay, Visharana, Gati, and Avasadana. Visharanagati avasadanarthasya upanipurvasya. Okay, upa and ni. Okay, because these are purva, meaning that means that these are upa and ni are prefixes. Quip pratyaya antyasya. So there is another thing called as pratyaya. Okay, that is added at end. Okay, so that's how Rupamidam Upanishad iti. So that means that that's how this Upanishad name is formed. So that means now we saw the line. We cannot even call it as shloka because this commentary is all gadya, meaning prose. So upa is a prefix, ni is a prefix, and sat is a root word. Together, upa plus ni plus sat became Upanishad. And we said sat has got three meanings. The first meaning of Sad is Visharana. Visharana means destruction, meaning complete like there's nothing more left after the destruction. Okay, that is one meaning. Now, Gati is another meaning of Sad. Gati means approaching, reaching, or going is Gati. And avasadana is the third meaning. Avasadana means it is basically loosening, okay, or weakening something is avasadana. So, say for example, when a human body is thrown, I mean, it's a bad example actually. When something is thrown, let's say you made Ganesha with the clay, with clay as in just mud. Okay. Now, when mud Ganesha is put in Jalanimajjanam, we do. Jalanimajjanam means we put in water. When we put in water, what happens? It over a period of time, it slowly dissolves into mud and becomes one with the if you put it in ocean, it becomes one with ocean floor, sea floor, river floor, like that. Okay, because one. So this is called as avasadhana. So these are the three meanings: visharana, gati, avasadhana. So now keep these three meanings separately. Okay. So now we see upa. What does upa means? Upa means closer, meaning going closer. So that is, I don't know, we talked about upasana, where meaning like sitting closer to God, and where there's no difference between, I mean, like there's no gap between you and God. Okay, and you're only thinking about God, that is upasana. That's what we talked about. Another example we talked about is upavasa. Okay, upavasa means fasting is a typical meaning, but upavasa means staying in the presence of God, staying in the presence of God by being closer to God. What you're doing is that you're forgetting everything about world. So that means anything that is coming into our inputs through all our five sense organs are going into the world through all our five organs of action. All of them are controlled because of your staying in close contact with God. That is upasana. Right? So now the same upa is coming here. Upa is going closer. Going closer to where? Ah, so right now, my knowledge of Brahma Vidya, knowledge of self, is so distant for me. But I'm getting closer and closer to reaching this Brahma Vidya. Now, how do I gain this Brahma Vidya? You gain Brahma Vidya through Shravana, Manana, Nitidhyasana, etc. Shravana means study of scriptures. Okay, listening is the right word, I mean, exact translation. Study of scriptures and reflecting on the meaning of it and then abiding in it. But how do you know what you studied is right? I mean, here we see like each word has got so many layers of meanings are there, and we need to understand all of them to understand. So that means this upa, all of this knowledge can only take place when we reach our guru. Okay. So this is Guru Upasadana. This is a word that is a technical term that is in Vedanta. That means that we reach the lotus feet of Guru. And what is the purpose of reaching Guru is to learn Brahma Vidya alone. So that going to closer to Guru is also shown through Upa. Now, one more interesting thing is there, which is when do you reach Guru? You today, all of us have got like different as grihasthas, we all have different activities that are there. Given that we have different activities, suddenly one morning we won't say like, okay, I give up everything and I need to go find Guru. We are not going to do it. When does that happen is when we are endowed with a particular inclination that I have to learn Brahma. Yeah. Now, this inclination becomes so strong that I cannot manage this anymore. I want to get out of this. When is that going to happen? When we have something called sadhana chatushtaya sampatti. Okay. Now, sadhana chatushtaya sampatti is again for some of you who understands basics of Vedanta, is one of the pre-qualifications for student that starts with Viveka. Viveka is having a discerning between what is absolutely real and what is not real. So that means that I'm doing all of this for what? Okay, there should be a higher purpose. I need to find that higher purpose. So once I understand what the higher purpose is, okay, and I'm able to differentiate between my higher purpose and lower things, then this identification of is the diagnosis of the situation is viveka. Now, when that happens, what happens? So just like someone who likes sweets is not particularly like sweets, but it's okay eating sweets, and he eats sweets whenever someone is offering him sweets. And one day his doctor says, eating sweets is causing you diabetes, so you are pre-diabetic or diabetic or something like that. Then what happens? The attitude towards sweets changes. He says, why eat this? It is bad. I'll drop off anything that is sweet, sugary. I'll drop off anything that is carb rich, and I will change my diet, which is beneficial to me. So that kind of a change in adjustment in attitude is vairagya, which we typically translate into English as dispassion. Viveka, vairagya. Then we also have six-fold qualifications called Shama, Dhamma, Uparama, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhana. Shama is control of mind. Dhamma is control of external organs. Okay. And then Uparama is when we cut down Shama and like when we master Shama and Dhamma, that is, I'm able to control my mind and I'm able to control my senses so that way like I'm not getting into anything. Then I'll be able to focus on doing my duty alone, and that shifting like what is right for me alone. So that is Uparama. Shraddha is because this is a knowledge where only a guru can give, and it is very subtle. So that means that you need to have faith in scriptures, that scriptures are right. And you should also have faith in the teacher who is teaching it. And you should also have faith in yourself that you can actually, like, you are the right student to learn. Okay. So scriptures, guru, yourself, and Bhagwan. And you have that fourfold faith is Shraddha. And Titiksha is, as we are going through this path, we'll face so many obstacles. And not just spiritual path, any path, right? You take any cause as you're working, you'll find a lot of obstacles, and we have to be able to forbear those obstacles is called as forbearance. That is the diksha. And then finally, samadhana. When we are able to do all of that, what happens is that our mind is single focused. And in this particular case, so Viveka, one, Vairagya, one, Shamadhi Shatka Sampatti. Starting with Shama, sixfold qualifications. And finally, Mumukshutvam. There will be a burning desire to reach to the lotus feet of the Guru. So that is Mumukshutvam. So only when all of these four are there, enough quantity, that is where you will go to Guru. So where are we? We're looking at the meaning of Upanishad. Upa plus Ni plus Shat. Upa means going closer to what? Going closer to Brahma Vidya. How do I go closer to Brahma Vidya? By doing Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. And who is giving that? Guru. So that means that going closer to Guru. All of this is Upa meaning. Okay. Ni is short for Nischayena. Nischayena means with 100% determination, with dedication. Okay. So now what happens is that when you go to Guru, the Guru will teach something. Now you and when Guru teaches us something, I must have the dedication that this knowledge that I get, I should hold on to this knowledge, I should think about it, and I should abide in this. So that determination to apply this knowledge by practicing it and internalizing it and mastering it, that is nischayena. So only when we are able to practice all of this, okay, and abide in this knowledge, that is what nischayena. For those people, what happens? Now you come to the meaning of Sat. What is the first meaning of Sat? It was Visharana, means destruction. So for those people who go to teacher and does Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, etc., abide in that, for them, guaranteedly, the ajnana is our ignorance is destroyed. That is the first meaning of Upanishad. Okay. So now, because it is destroying Upanishad, okay, uh, it is destroying, it is called as Upanishad. It is Brahma Vidya. But it also, what it is doing is that, so that's why Upanishad Shabda is also called, also means Brahma Vidya as well as Atma Vidya also. Okay. Now, the thing is that we all know what is our true self, because we all say I. So I is known to all of us. But challenge is that I don't know that I is, that is, I am Brahman. I am referring to Sakshi. I'm referring to that Paramatma, one single Atma, which is spread all over the universe. This kind of knowledge is not there. And because this knowledge is given, it is also called as Brahma. Yeah. So now, second meaning of Sat was called as Gati. Gati means, we said, one that takes me. So that one that helps me reach. Where do I reach? I reach Brahman. When do I reach? When ignorance is destroyed. So that means, because usually when you say Gati means, oh, today, I mean like right now, I am at point A. I had to go to point B. So that means that I had to travel from point A to point B by bus, by car, by plane, train, whatever it means. Okay, so that's how I go from point A to point B. So this Gati means, okay, it is a transportation vehicle that takes me from where I am to knowledge of Brahma Vidya. But here, interestingly, what this Brahma Vidya tells is, you are at point A, you want to get to point B. Now, the secret is, you don't, point A and point B are one and the same. Okay, point A and point B are one and the same. That is the knowledge that gives. So then what happens is, the moment that knowledge is, we receive that knowledge, that, so what is this point A and point B are one and the same? You as self and Brahman are one and the same. And once that is given, you already reach that Brahma Padam. That is the second meaning of Upanishad. Now, let us look at the third meaning of Upanishad. Because all of these three different meanings are coming because Sat means three different things. The third meaning of Sat was Abasadhana. And the example we gave is like how when we put the a clay model of Ganesha, when it is put under water, over a period of time, it slowly disintegrates. So that is the meaning of avasadhana, we said, right? So here, what happens is that this specific definition of avasadhana is specific to Kathopanishad alone. Okay? What does it mean is, just by show of hands, I mean, like, how many of you know the story of the Kathopanishad, the story part, not necessarily the meaning part? Okay. So, uh, by a show of hands, or like you can unmute and say, like, okay, I know or I don't know. You guys can hear me, right?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so did you hear my question? I mean, do any of you know either yes or no the meaning, the story part of Kathopanishad in the past, from the past?
I think Lalita ji had her hand up, right?
Okay,
Yeah, yes.
okay, so okay. Yeah, I think Lalita is speaking, but she's on mute. Okay, that is fine then. So, what Upanishad, Kathopanishad? So, just let me quickly tell you is we'll come to this meaning again, this particular meaning at a later point when we come to that part of the book. But what happens is that Nachiketa is given three boons by Yama, and when Nachiketa, for the second boon, he asks to teach him a Agni Vidya. Agni Vidya is a knowledge of a particular fire ritual. So the fire ritual is yajna. Okay? And performer of that yajna will reach a particular state. Okay? So that means that they are in a kind of like eternal sleep throughout the kalpa. Kalpa means until this current Brahmaji is period. And Brahmaji's period is I don't know if in this particular sessions we talked about it or not, but in the past we talked about it's about 4.5 trillion years or something like that, okay, roughly. So that means for 4.5 trillion years, they are freed from, because they're in a kind of a sleepy state, they are freed from any pains or sorrows of this being a jiva. So then what happened is that over a period of time, all their vasanas, etc., they are all like going away and they are ripe for Brahma Vidya. Okay, so that's why this avasadhana is something that it is removing the sorrows and it is weakening the sorrows, it is weakening the desire, they be like weakening the individuality of the being, and because that individuality is also gone, now they are getting closer to liberation. So Upanishad, the third meaning is get rid of all of that desires, etc., and the individuality. This is the third meaning of Upanishad. So this, so now what actually did I did was that uh, uh, there are like a few more sentences in uh, Shankaracharya Bhashya. So I have covered all of those introductory lines without actually reading those individual lines. So I want to pause and see if you have any questions around it. Now, go ahead,
So,
Rajesh.
Venkati, you're not relating right now to this. This is not mapping to specific verses right now, right? It's generic.
Yeah. So, what happens is that when Shankaracharya ji or any Acharya writes any commentary, they have a introductory commentary, that introduction to the text even before they start. So when they start, so they write about like in so for example, think about in modern days. I mean, like a simple example is like movie reviews. Okay, when a reviewer does movie review, uh, you don't really want to read movie review after. I mean, like you're not really interested in movie review after you watch that movie. Okay. However, the movie reviewer, when he gives the review, he will talk about certain capabilities, etc., that have happened. I mean, like he introduces the subject, but he doesn't want to give away the story of the movie, but he refers to certain scenes, certain maybe if it's an Indian movie, certain songs or certain fights, and say that okay, this is what it is interesting. This part they did not do very well, etc. Those kind of review is given, right? In the same way, here the commentary also, Shankaracharya ji is giving all of this before the actual text is starting. Okay,
Yeah,
does it?
sure. Like,
Okay. So actually, like the Kathopanishad Bhashyam and text that I sent to you uh, in in the group long time ago from Gita Press. That one has all of this commentary as well. Okay. Anandji, I think you sent a text. I did not, I mean, I'm unable to look at the text. So can you speak up, please?
Yeah, I just wanted to say I couldn't unmute myself at that particular time when you asked me to, but I haven't heard the story as you are asking if I heard the story. I haven't heard the story. No.
Okay, no worries. Thank you, Anandji. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Now, another thing is that when we study any kind of books, which is any kind of Vedanta books, we have something called Anubandha Chatushtaya. In fact, this word Upanishad itself tells what that Anubandha Chatushtaya is. Anubandha Chatushtaya is because back in those days, think about that they did not have the different, I mean, like they did not have things like book cover. Okay, so like today, if you look at a book cover, the book cover will contain what the title of the text, and it tells who is this, what is the purpose, okay, who is the author, etc. All of that, right? So in the same way, w- in those days, because there was no book cover, what they would do is that they would actually give four kind of things. Who is this book meant for? Okay, meaning qualified student or poor. Okay, and then what is the subject? Okay, so who is it meant for? The intended audience is what we call as adhikari, meaning qualified person for this book. And then subject matter is called as Vishaya. And then the third one is Prayojana. Prayojana means what is the benefit of doing this? Okay, as reading it. And fourth one is Sambandha. So that means what is the relation between this text as well as what you're going to gain. Okay, so the association, the relationship between the text and this. Say, for example, if you are preparing for an exam, okay, in India, we used to have like, I mean, I don't know if that's probably still are there, UPSC exams, etc., like that. So in that case, what happens is that by reading this book, by studying this UPSC exam guide, you will pass, okay, that UPSC certification. That is a Sambandha. Okay, so here in the word Upanishad itself, all these fourfold Anubandha Chatushtaya is also given. When you said Upa, one who goes closer to God, to Guru, meaning one who has sadhana chatushtaya sampannatvam, that is Viveka, Vairagya, Shamadhi, Shatka, Sampatti, and all of those, Mumukshutvam, all of those, for those kind of students, meaning for those kind of people, are the intended audience. That is the adhikaritva. Okay? That is given as in the word Upa itself. And even Ni is also telling who is practicing this knowledge. That is also adhikaratvam only. Okay. And what is the subject? Upanishad means Brahma Vidya, we said, right? So that Jiva Brahma Aikyata Brahma, right? That is the Vishaya, the subject of this Upanishad. And what is the Prayojana? Prayojana means what is the result? It is based on the second meaning of Upanishad, which is reaching. Okay? So, reaching that Brahma Padatvam, okay, reaching that, becoming one with Brahman is a Prayojana. And what is the relationship? This text is becoming a means for you to attain that Brahman. Okay, that is the Sambandha. So like this, we have even the word in the word Upanishad itself, all this Adhikari, Vishaya, Sambandha, Prayojana, all the fourfold Anubandha Chatushtaya is given here. So this is primarily, usually this is there for all of the not just Upanishads, but all of the texts that we read. Okay, so with that, we can get into the very first line of Upanishad now. Okay. Now, this, if you see the text, it will say, Pradhamadhyaya, Prathama Valli. Okay, so Prathama means first, Adhyaya is section. Okay, so there that means there okay, first section, and Valli is referring to subsection. So first section and first subsection. Now, just a quick check. This is from Kathopanishad. Kathopanishad is part of Yajurveda. Yajuhu means prose. Okay, so that means that this Kathopanishad will have some prose and some poetry. Again, as I mentioned, Yajurveda doesn't mean that it is all of it is prose alone, but it is primarily prose. Kathopanishad also will have some prose somewhere, some poetry somewhere. So that means that there will be mantras in shloka form also. Both of them are there. So the very first line is in prose format. Okay, so that is what it is. So one of you please go off mute and repeat after me. Om
Om.
Ushan Ushan
Ushan.
Ha
Va.
Ha Ha
Ha. Okay.
Ha
Ha.
Vai
Vahi.
Vajashravasah
Vajishravasah.
Sarvavedasam
Sarvavedasam.
Dadau
Dadau.
Tasya
Tasya.
Ha
Ha.
Nachiketa
Nachiketa.
Nama
Nama.
Putra
Putra.
Asa.
Asa.
So here, this is the mantra. Okay, so whether it is in prose or poetry format, it doesn't matter. Anything that is in Vedas, it is called as mantra. Okay? So now if you see like, okay, anything that is written in Veda is called as mantra, it kind of like uh, breaks one more misunderstanding about what we have about mantra. So you are doing mantra chanting, etc. No, mantras are only like Vedic chanting. That's all it means, nothing beyond that. Okay. So here the for this the commentary as part of commentary Shankaracharya ji says Tatra Akhyayika Vidyastuti Artha. Okay, so Vidyastuti Artha. So here this Akhyayika means story. This story is to help to talk about the greatness of that Vidya. Stuti means praising the glory. Okay, Vidya, glory of Vidya, and Artha. So that's what it is. Okay, so that means what? Now, oh, it is a story. It is a made-up story. No. Okay. And then also, this actually raises multiple questions. One is that Vedas are timeless, they say. Now, when this happened in Vedas, so that means there was a time before this has happened. So how can this be timeless? Okay, that's also another question that comes. Now understand that we have in our Hinduism, we have 4 different yugas, right? We say Kruta Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, Kali Yuga, and these are circular in nature. And this circularity in nature, right? This that is going on is every hour of Brahmaji, about 7 of these happen. These yugas happen, right? Kalpa, okay, this fourfold, right? Like that, and every day, like so that is every hour, and then every like that. Brahmaji's daytime has got 14 hours, so it's 14 times of that many happens. And then Brahmaji goes to sleep and he wakes up after 14 hours. So Brahmaji's lifetime is based on 28 hours cycle, not 24 hours. Okay. It is not 12 plus 12, rather 14 plus 14. And when we wakes up, again this continues. So like that, when this is continuing, and this continues for 100 years of Brahmaji. And now when Brahmaji goes away, everything is done. No, another Brahmaji is born. And how many Brahmajis are there at any given time? Infinite crores of Brahmajis are there. So when Marvel movies say that, okay, there's a multiverse, that they came up with the concept of multiverse. We have the concept of multiverse since our Vedic times. So when that is there, and all of this time is also an interesting aspect with respect to Hinduism. We typically say questions like this. What happened in the very first moment of creation? Okay. So that implies some kind of a thing. Before that, there is nothing, and something came from nothing, like that. Okay. That is one way of understanding. Vedas say, okay, if your understanding is like that, let me help you with that. And Vedas, our Upanishads talk about different types of creation. Okay. Within the Vedas, we have 64 variations of creation theories. Okay. But then Vedas say, once our mind becomes a little bit more mature, then they propose a little bit more advanced one. Okay. This is what they call as Yugapat Srishti. Yugapat Srishti is, there's no beginning point. There's only a beginning point for the movement, but not the beginning point. How is that? I can give you two examples. When you're dreaming, you went to bed at 10:30 p.m. and your dream started at 11:45 p.m. Now in dream, what do you see? This complete Srishti is there, and you are appearing with your age, whatever age your current age is. So where is birth of Venkat in that dream? He already is existing. Okay. So where did Venkat go to school? He already finished his education by then. Okay. Like that, pretty much anything and everything in that is already set up and already happening. Okay. And similarly, if you also look into movies also, the same concept, right? You see right in the first scene, many a times, I mean, like, of course, depending on movies, things would change, but in many a times, the story begins from a point of time. Okay, so hero is going to college. Okay, let's say if it's a college romance, right? Hero is going to college. It is his first day of college. So how did hero was born? He was already born by then. Heroine was also born by then, and his high school education was already completed by then. So all of them are already completed, and it is starting from a particular point, right? So this, so that means the moment the movie started on the screen, already certain things have happened and certain things are being projected. So this Srishti is also like that. So that is the Yugapat Srishti. So because of that, what is happening is that, why I'm saying all of this whole thing is two parts. One is that when it is said the story, it doesn't mean that it is a myth. Rather, it happened some time ago in the past. When it happened, we don't know. That is number one. Second thing is that this knowledge being universal, it is, when did it begin? Okay, because there is no concept of beginning of the universe in our scriptures. Rather, it is permanently, eternally existing. These have happened, means this happened before our understanding of existence. Okay, so that's why Vedas are still unwritten by humans, and they are from the time of the beginning of the universe. Okay, as long as universe existed, all of this existed. Okay, just like as soon as your dream started, you are already there. So So from the beginning of the dream, you were already there with a particular age. In the same way, these are also there for a long time. So I just want to make sure that you understand this particular aspect before we jump through. Okay. So any questions on that? Okay. So this is the Akhyayika. So now let us go to Ushant. Okay. Ushant means the word Ushan comes from a word Vash. Vash means what? Like we say Vasha. Okay, Vashikarana, etc. Vashikarana means what? Vasha means something that doesn't belong to me. I want to make it mine. So that means what? It is Vash means desire. Okay. So a person who is desirous of wanting something, according to this Vedas, what do they do? When they want something, they perform a yaga. And in this particular yaga that they were doing is something called as Vishwajit Yaga. Okay? Vishwajit. So you also know, I mean, especially in Bengali, this name Vishwajit is somewhat common. So that means that winning over this world is Vishwajit. Now, winning over this world means what? It means that I have to transcend this world and go to next higher level world. So that means Swarga Prapti. Now, Swarga, typically when we understand, Swarga is just one place. But Swarga is not one place, rather it is several embodiments, meaning several levels of Swarga are there. Typically, when we say lokas, right? 14 lokas, Chaturdasha Bhuvanani, these are a representative number. Okay, why we chose 14? Because 14 levels of existence means our existence or our realm of existence is based on 14 levels, representing 5 organs of action, 5 organs of senses, and 4 internal mana, buddhi, chitta, ahankara. Now, but it doesn't mean that there are only 14. Okay, there are so many more. So uh, for example, there is a loka called Agni Loka, there is a loka called Vidyul Loka, like that. There are so many lokas are there. And this yaga, this Ushan, okay, one who is desirous of going to a particular Swarga, her why? These two words said Ushan, her why? So her is telling something interesting. Okay, so together they are saying that this is happened sometime before. Okay, these participles are and why are saying that this happened sometime before, means sometime before desirous of going to Swarga. That's what it is. Okay, so the Upanishad, that means that it is saying that just like once upon a time, okay, long time ago. So that's how we start the story. So here Upanishad is also telling a story. But when Upanishad is telling a story, why is it telling the story? Because when I am telling a story to my young child, I'm trying to make him to go to sleep. Okay. Or I'm trying to give him some kind of a anecdote so that way he'll understand a particular concept or things like that. Or just entertainment, pure entertainment. Now, what is the reason for this Upanishad? That is what? Tatraikyaika Vidya Stuti Artha. This knowledge is being given to glorify. I mean, this story is being given to glorify this knowledge. So in this Upanishad itself, you will see that the teacher Yama tries to tempt the student Nachiketa with lot of things. Okay, but Nachiketa, why? Because student asks, "Teach me Brahma Vidya." He says, "You're too young. Forget about this. Why do you worry about this knowledge? I'll give you so much on earth. I'll give so much on heavenly goodies." But Nachiketa said, no, I'm very firm. I want to learn. So then Yama says, he agrees that, yes, Nachiketa, you are so smart. You are an excellent student. In fact, I wasted my life. Okay, like that he talks. And so that way, what is in all of this, what it is, that the greatness of this Brahma Vidya is being glorified. Okay, so that is what, for Vidya Stuti Arthaha, this story is being narrated. Ushan Havai, Vajashravasaha. Vajashravasaha means, is the name of, in this context, Vajashravasaha is the name of the performer who is doing this yaga. And he is doing this yaga for material prosperity. So, material prosperity, whenever we talk about prosperity, if I'm wishing something, that automatically must happen in future, not in the present. Because if I already have everything, I don't need to do yaga, right? So, this anything, any desired fulfillment happens only in future. So, and now some people want uh, small things, and if you are more smart, you want a bigger thing. Okay, so he knows, now this person knows the limitations of earthly abode, because what, I want sweets, I want to eat sweets. Okay, you will eat sweets, okay, you can only eat so much sweets, and afterwards your body start decomposing because of eating too much sweets. I want to eat fried food. Okay, same story. Okay, like that, everything that we do, based on that, there is certain degradation of our indriyas happen. Okay, our physical organs, etc., they degrade. But on the other hand, if I go to Swarga and then I eat, nothing happens, because that body is Divya Sharira. Okay, so what he is looking is that he is looking for this prosperity beyond earthly abode. Okay, he wants to reach a higher abode and prosper. Okay, so this is this Vajashravasaha. So this name Vajashravasaha itself has got two parts: Vajaha, Vaja, and Shravasaha. Vaja means food, annam. Okay, annam, food, means it could be like, wealth or anything. Okay, and Shravasaha means yashas. Yashas means popularity or fame, right? So that glory. So that means that he was glorified because of food. That means what? He has done a lot of annadana. Annadana means it could be just food alone, maybe, but also it could be like even anything that helps to fulfill someone's needs is annadana only. So that means that what Vajashravas means, he must be a rich person, number one. He has nobility in his heart. He wants to do dhanam, okay? And so he wants to share his happiness with the world around him. So this is Vajashravasaha. Vaja nimittam yashaha is Vajashravaha. So now, that is Vajashrava. That's the meaning of Vajashrava. So now, one who has Vajashravas as father is called as Vajashravasaha. So that means what? So for example, you think about the name Janaki, right? What's Janaki means? Janaka was the father of this lady, hence she became Janaki. Okay, Janaka's daughter is Janaki. So similarly, Vajashravas uh, son is Vajashravasaha. So that means that his dad was so rich and he was popular, and because of that, the performer of this yajna is Vajashravas. Okay, so this person is performing, what is he performing? Vishwajit Yaga, where he is going to donate all his wealth as dhanam. Okay, so now Sarva Vedasam Dadao, that means he gave all his dhana. That dado means gave. Okay, Sarva Vedasam means everything. Everything has been given. And now, Tasya, so to this Vajashravas, her means, again, her means story, right? So this is all still part of the story. Nachiketa Nama Putra Asa. So Nachiketa is the name. Okay. And Nachiketa Nama Putra. So he had a son named Nachiketa. That's what his name is. So the thing is that even though it says Nachiketa, and when you also see like I also met a few people whose name was Nachiket. But when the proper declension is made in Sanskritam, it is also the proper with the correct declension, it is Nachiketas. Nachiketas is the proper declension. So sometimes in your translation books, right, in commentaries, etc., you may see Nachiketas, Nachiketas as opposed to Nachiketa. So if you see Nachiketas, that's actually the correct way, but it doesn't really matter. So for him, he has a son named Nachiketa. That's the meaning of this mantra. So I'll pause here to see if you have any questions. Okay, if there are no questions, shall we conclude for the day? पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ